Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. Hi, everybody. It's Wednesday, May 26th. I'm Gigi. What's good, Fruit Loop?
I don't even know.
It
is hot outside.
It is like a sauna.
Yeah, sauna.
I lost 5 pounds checking my mail.
Exactly.
Water weight gone.
I'm ready for fall.
No, I'm not. I'm a summer girl, but
Yeah, I'm ready for fall.
with the hot flashes, though, it's a little unbearable already. So
Yeah.
ask me in a month.
Yeah.
So I just think it's funny. I had some things to run and do today. And when I came home, you were decked out in some overalls looing like old MacDonald up in my house.
I was. Taylor said I was a rapper because I had my hat on. I was like a rapper with my farm clothes.
Literally like some Oshkosh bagosh on.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week. I hadn't been able to do laundry, so it was like the last thing in my closet, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, my dryer is broken, and we still have our friend staying here. She's still recovering. We got kids, and my dryer broke.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to break down and go get one. So today was interesting.
Oh yeah.
We had the first appearances for Chad and Lori both. Chad's got started right at 11. Lori's was a little late, and we will talk about that in a second why, but man, Chad he's so awkward.
He is. His laugh, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and every time, because I watched the last couple of times he's had a hearing, every time he laughs is when the judge tells him to speak up. Or today the judge said, "Can you hear me okay?" Chad said yes, and then he said, "Can you hear me?" And then he started laughing. It was just very odd.
It was awkward.
I mean, these are super serious charges, 3 of which potentially hold the death penalty. And he sat there, to me, like he didn't have a care in the world.
Yeah.
No remorse.
No.
No remorse. No look of seriousness, whatever. So they essentially just read out the charges against him. He didn't want like the formal reading, but Judge Edens is back, who I love.
Oh yeah, I like him.
I really like him. And so his first appearance was pretty normal, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So then we waited, and I'm not sure how long. I think it was about 10, 15 minutes past when Lori should have started. Everybody pops up, and we see her for the first time in almost a year.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a hot minute. And so I can't decide if she is naturally that dark of a brunette and everything's grown out except for what's in the front, or if she's gotten some hair dye from the commissary.
I'm saying hair dye.
I think so too, because she's older than we are a little bit, closer to 50. And I'm pretty sure at one of those appearances where she had been in the pokey for a little while, that gray was starting to show. I know I was sent a commissary list by the girl I know who's in prison. And I clarified with her, for her, she was able to get hair dye in a county jail. Who knows? Who cares? It's totally a vanity thing.
Oh, yeah.
That as women, we're like, whoa, her hair is really dark.
Oh, yeah.
She had a mask on, so we really couldn't see anything. It looked like she was squinting to me. I don't know if she was smiling or what. You can't tell, but she sat there kind of stone-faced, and they wanted a continuance of the first appearance, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's one of the oddest things to ask for. Scott Reich said in his 26 years, he has never seen a request for a continuance at an initial appearance. And really, I mean, this is just to explain the warrant, advise of the charges and the penalties against them.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
In the time they argued for the continuance, they could have had the first appearance out of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
In the time they were in the sidebar, Scott said, in his opinion, even though this is on Zoom, it's still a public courtroom and we kind of have a right to know.
Yeah.
We've always speculated this is a mental health thing with her.
Most definitely.
And I think that's just what's going on.
Yeah. It's what makes sense.
Right. Well, Lori Hellis, if you guys do not subscribe to her newsletter, you really should. She is a criminal defense attorney, I believe.
Yep.
And she gives her insight into what could be happening in the case. And some of it's speculation, and then some of it's just straight up facts that we don't understand that she is great at explaining. And she speculates the stay was issued because Lori can't participate in her case right now, which is why these hearings have been paused. And that's usually for a mental disease or defect. And she wanted to reiterate that if Lori is found incompetent to stand trial, it wouldn't dismiss the charges. Most likely, it would just delay it for a while until she gets treatment to restore her competency.
Yeah.
I just don't think she did. I think more than anything is the gravity maybe of life in prison has hit her. Did she maybe try to kill herself or hurt herself? We don't know.
Yeah, that's where I'm leaning towards.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we don't know for sure, but
something big has happened because the way that he worded it, he said that there was some exigent circumstances, which there's a couple of ways to define it legally. Like an exigent circumstance would be that you have reason to go into a house without a warrant because of some kind of an imminent danger or there's a good reason. But it also could mean requiring immediate aid or action. So whatever it is, he said there was an exigent circumstance that the court was informed of. And so Rob Wood objected to the stay, or to the continuance rather, and Judge Edens granted it.
Yep.
So it is what it is. I don't think anything is going to be quick with this at all. We'll see what happens. But right now, everything's paused for her, even her initial appearance.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
But they talked about also if the state goes for death penalty, what that means for means and prior, right?
Yeah. They can't be lead counsel.
Wow.
They can stay on maybe of counsel, but at that point, you've got to have an attorney who's certified as a death penalty lawyer, I guess.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, speaking of the mental state of Lori, if you remember back in 2019, back when all this was happening with Charles, she passed that mental evaluation, and I think she was very proud to say it was with flying colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just have a hard time thinking that if she is mentally incompetent right now, it has anything to do with what she did. I think the weight of jail, and that's what the girl that we use for the Glimpse at Life series says, that after about a year, typically first timers have a meltdown.
Yeah.
When they realize this may be the rest of their life. So we'll see. But I just was thinking about that mental evaluation that she was very happy to say they released her after a couple of hours.
Yeah. And if I don't know if I remember right or not, but I think she had to have another eval way back when she was doing that stuff with Joe, going through all that stuff.
Yeah.
She had one then as well.
Yeah. So she's always been proud to say she's passed them.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden it's convenient to not want to pass them. I don't know. I mean, but I think the takeaway point is whatever it is, at the end of the road, she's going to face these charges.
Yeah. My point is this. She knew what she was doing when she did it.
Oh, yeah.
She tried to cover it up.
In huge ways.
Exactly.
I mean, and we're going to get into some of the specifics. I found some dates that are very curious later on.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, just because now she's possibly having some kind of mental breakdown or whatever, that for me, that's nothing compared to, I mean, when she committed those crimes, she knew what she was doing.
I mean, all you have to do is look at the pictures of the wedding on the beach, and when Nate comes up, where are your kids, Lori? I mean, she's just smirking and grinning, and the way she walked into that courtroom in Rexburg after she had been brought back from Hawaii, there was nothing with her that told me she was incompetent.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyways, what about East Idaho News? They had a really great story out with an ex-FBI agent.
Yeah, so they talked about the lengthy process it has taken to get to where we are. He said the state didn't give a ton away in the grand jury because it would have given the defense away to maybe craft their defense for trial. So I thought that was a good point.
Yeah. And we know that they probably only gave just enough to get the indictments. But there was a big witness list, so I'm sure the grand jury heard a lot of stuff we don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So Kathy Russin, who is with Law and Crime Network and an old friend of mine, she tweeted out today that John Pryor now owns Chad's house.
That's crazy.
He's listed as the owner on the paperwork online. And so the deed dates were 10/29 of 2020, and then most recently May 10th of this year, and then May 12th of this year. So it looks like he must have signed the house completely over to him just this month.
Yeah.
They knew what was coming, obviously.
Yeah.
The total value of the house and the property is $204,543. But here's my question. What the heck is he going to do with this property? Nobody is going to want to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. I don't know either.
I mean, I don't see anybody wanting to live on that property other than maybe family of Chad's, his kids. I mean, I think one's living in it now. But we were talking even about a memorial park or something. That might be hard to do in a neighborhood. I mean, as much as I'm sure the neighbors are supportive of all this, it's going to bring a lot of traffic. And I just don't understand. He's got this property that you couldn't give it to me.
Yeah. No, me either. I want to know if any of y'all know this. Is that normal for a client to deed over his house to the attorney?
I mean, Scott Rice yesterday said that he didn't think so.
Yeah.
He thought it was unethical, but I mean, it's no question at this point, the money from Tammy, it was like $430,000. It has to be gone.
Yeah.
There's no way any of that money is still lingering around. If so, it's not going to be enough for what Chad's got coming.
No.
Legally. I mean, this is just getting started.
Oh, yeah.
So then I was thinking about Alex and how he was mentioned so much in the indictments, and you are never going to convince me he died. Just fell over.
Oh, no.
The day after Tammy is exhumed.
No way.
In fact, Kay and Larry did a interview with Justin Lum that was really, really good, and we're going to talk about some of the points they made. And that was a point that Kay said, which was, you're never going to convince me that this was natural the day after she's exhumed. And she said maybe a month before, maybe a month after, but the day after,
no way.
And Larry said, I think maybe he took some poison. And then he said maybe that's how they killed Tammy. I mean, I totally agree with Larry.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, so then we were talking about the insurance company and the fraud. And you would think that the insurance company would have been a little suspicious a month after they max out the account that she dies at 49 of natural causes.
I would think so.
But then you think the coroner initially ruled it a natural death. So it wasn't until December that they exhumed her that they did the only autopsy she had. And then we just pretty much find out this week that, yes, it was murder. So I don't know how that's going to go. I mean, I wonder if the insurance company is going to pull a corner into all this. They're going to try to get their money back at some point, although it's tapping a dry well.
Yeah. So we were talking. We still want to know who called and changed that PIN, right?
On Charles's policy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've always said there's two things I think Alex kind of stepped in and did. I think when I'm sorry. When Lori's mom said that she had talked to JJ at the beginning of October, I think Alex did a voice. He was very talented at doing other voices. I mean, he was.
Yep.
But I also think, was it Charles or Chad that called to change that PIN? And I'm sure they have a recording of that.
I would think so.
That's
a big deal.
That's a really big deal. I mean, it's insurance fraud. If you're having somebody change that PIN that's not Charles.
Yeah.
So anyways, I don't know. I mean, I find it hard to believe. Did they really think they could kill all these people and just get by with it? That just blows my mind.
Yeah.
So anyways,
I lost my spot.
I can tell.
Yeah, I'm struggling over here.
Hop on the struggle bus.
Yeah, I'm on the struggle bus.
But I mean, I would really like to know Lori's state of mind right now. I just is an actor. Is she really in La La Land? I don't know.
Yeah, La La Land.
I think so.
Wasn't that a movie?
Oh yeah, I want to watch it. I still have not watched that movie.
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, but I kind of think the Social Security money and the insurance fraud are just going to kind of be the cherry on top for all this, because it just really shows that action, that deliberate action to set things up to where they could live comfortably in a fraud way.
Sure.
I mean, that's just, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's so obvious. That's why I don't want to hear that she had mental illness when she did this. They did so many things to hide everything. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So this was the other interesting thing that I found was July 30th. That's when Lori and Chad are texting about death percentages for Tammy and JJ. And this was 2.5 weeks after Charles was murdered. Now, if you remember, she called the next day after his murder to ask about cashing in on that $1 million policy, and then she found out that she was not the one on the policy anymore. So she texted Kay on July 29th, I believe, where she made the comment, 5 kids and no money, and his sister gets everything. It was the next day on the 29th. So she texted 5 kids and no money. The next day is when she was texting about those death percentages for Tammy and JJ. It almost seems like they were kind of looking for an alternative.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
So anyways, and then the other thing that I kind of keep chewing on is Chad, Lori, and Alex and other co-conspirators, both known and unknown. That makes me think that we are going to see more arrests with this.
Yeah.
I just think that when they put known and unknown, I think that's a big thing.
It's a ring.
And in fact, in the interview, Larry said he hopes that anybody, and he hopes they investigate that whole circle, because he feels like everybody who knew something and didn't say something should be brought to justice. And I agree 100%.
Oh, yeah. If you knew what was going on and didn't say anything.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta come forward with that.
Right. Exactly. So then Scott was talking about working pro bono as an attorney, and he said it never really works out where you get paid in the end. And then I thought about Kirk Nurmi, who represented Jodi Arias in both of her trials. We had the trial, and then they retried the penalty phase where they were trying to go for death. They had one holdout, and she got life. But he wrote a book about Jodi Arias, and it was very negative about Jodi Arias. He has made no bones about the fact that he hates her. And if you look at it, he kind of ruined her career, or he allowed her to ruin his career. He tried to get off the case. The judge did not grant it. So he wrote this book, Trapped with Miss Arias, part 1 of 3 from getting the file to being ready for trial. And so what I looked up today is, so if we're looking at Mark Means and Pryor, if Lori and Chad both give their blessings for them to write a book after all this is said and done, they are allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But with Kirk Nurmi, what happened is he was disbarred for this because Jodi Arias filed an objection, and she filed a complaint. And so I think now he's doing like stand-up comedy.
Oh, wow.
But
you serious?
Yeah. So if, let's just say hypothetically, if Lori and Chad give their blessings, then Pryor and Means can kind of make their money after all this is said and done.
Yeah.
So we watched the interview with Kay and Larry that Justin Lum did, and we've put it on our Twitter and Facebook pages. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely go watch it. It's hard, it's hard to see them. It's such and Kay said it's very bittersweet yesterday. It's not like they were just happy. It's another thing that is over, and now we move forward. But what did they say about the death penalty?
They said it quickly and strongly that they do want the death penalty.
Yeah. And I said yesterday, I'm not a huge supporter of it just as a whole, but this case has me thinking yes. It's a bargaining tool for the state, number one, to possibly avoid trial. But at the same time, you just look at the lives that are gone, and then you look at the reach within families, friends. There's so many families that have been forever devastated by what they did in a very selfish way. So, especially with me with children, I think I'd be okay with it.
Oh, yeah.
I've thought about it so much since yesterday, but I do. I mean, I guess if there is a case where the death penalty is appropriate, I think when you kill 2 kids and, in my opinion, 3 adults, including Joe, you're a serial killer. You've reached that plateau.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think serial killer is 3 or more victims with cooling off time in between, which they did.
Yeah, and I think here the families deserve the most stiffest punishment that you could give.
I think so too, because they've been denied. If you look at Charles's sons, I mean, eventually they'll probably have families of their own, and they'll never have their father there to watch those moments with them. It's not, there's so many other families. You got Kay and Larry, Colby, Kelsey, Annie. You've got Charles's sons, his siblings. It's just there's so many people that have been personally affected by this case that I just think it's appropriate.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I'm good. And I think me personally, that's what they're going to do.
I think so too.
When you ask
mm-hmm.
the families, because really and truly that's who you're doing this for.
Right. So I don't think that prosecutors typically, I think they definitely consult families. I mean, because they know it's going to be a years-long appeal process to where a guilty verdict and life in prison, I mean, you're just not going to have that length of time fighting that. But then again, when you haven't been personally affected by it, I guess going to court for years maybe isn't too much to ask if you feel like they deserve death.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that was their stance. And then they understood that COVID threw a wrench in everything. And with the hurricanes, they went through 2.
Oh, yeah.
2 hurricanes down
bad.
there. This maybe just came at the right time for them, I think. They're able to kind of sit back and relax and breathe. And we'll definitely have some still moments for months at a time once all these hearings get underway. June 6th, or I'm sorry, the 9th is Chad.
9th, yep.
Yeah. So his arraignment, ironically, 1 year to the day, they found the kids' bodies in his yard.
That's crazy.
Is that not crazy? Because yesterday, JJ's birthday, murder charges. His arraignment, June the 9th. Lori, we don't know a future date for her appearance, her initial appearance. We're going to have to redo that again, and then she'll have a date in the future for an arraignment. So, but Chad right now, June 9th, and there's no time set yet.
Yeah.
So what do you,
so that, about the Zoom call today, that's a little shocking.
Yeah, they wanted to be on the Zoom call with Colby as well, but Judge Edens denied it.
I wonder why.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't see
Yeah, I mean, Kay wanted to give Lori the same smug look that Lori gave to her in Rexburg when she was brought in from Hawaii, if you remember that.
Yeah.
And she just said Lori's pure evil.
Oh, yeah.
And they were meeting with Rob Wood today, and Kay wanted clarification, Kay and Larry both, on the death percentages. And they said they've been given a lot of information about the case, but just not this. So they were wanting clarification on what the death percentages meant, which we think is insurance percentages or
something. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep. So Kay said it was the epitome of bittersweet to have the charges come on JJ's birthday.
Oh, that's epitome.
What?
Epitome.
Oh, what'd I say?
You said epitome. The Fruit Loop, y'all. She is so tired.
I'm tired.
Can I just say, she's been wrangling toddlers for 2 weeks solid now, and Fruit Loop is stupid tired, and she is
tired.
the epitome of tired.
You have to put a little pronunciation key after that.
I need to spell it out.
Yeah.
E-pit-o-me.
E-pit-o-me.
Oh, that's funny.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Oh, boy.
They're relieved. They still have to digest it all. Larry says it was one of the hardest days they've ever had. I can't quit laughing now. Oh,
We're
my
not
goodness.
laughing at them.
We're not laughing at them. We're laughing at my dumb pronunciation.
Oh, my gosh. That's so funny.
For
For once, it's you and not me. I mean, this is almost as bad as what was the word we screwed up for a week solid? What was it?
VJ.
VJ. Pro Hoc Vice.
Yeah, Pro Hoc Vice.
It's the epitome.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. All right.
Larry says he went blank when the charges were read, and Kay said the world stopped for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, because you know what's coming. And they were, apparently, from what I understood from the interview, they were told privately before Rob Wood put out the press release what the charges were. And Colby and Kelsey, I believe, were there with them, which is good. I'm so glad that Colby and Kelsey have Kay and Larry. I think that they're going to need them.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout this whole years-long process. And Colby and Kelsey have a new baby on the way, so that's a little bit of light in a very dark place that they've been put in. I just think it's very sweet. I can totally see Kay and Larry just babying them and taking care of them and making sure they're okay.
Yep.
So obviously their next goal is to get justice for Charles, and I think maybe sooner than later.
Oh, yeah, it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's coming.
What did you notice about Larry, though?
He sometimes refers to JJ in the present.
I know,
Yeah.
and it made my heart just skip a beat because there were times where he would say JJ is. And
Yeah.
I guess to them, he will always be alive in their memory. I think it's hard for your heart to tell your brain to figure that one out.
Yeah.
I just want to hug him.
Yeah, I know it.
We don't
Yeah.
even, yeah. So, and Kay said Lori and Chad were definitely the perfect storm in meeting each other, but Lori would have blown up. And this is such a good point Kay made. She said that Lori would have eventually blown up her world on her own if she hadn't met Chad, but maybe not to the extent that we are at now.
Yeah.
And so what did she say about Lori?
She was tired of being mom to an autistic boy and a teenager, and tired of being a wife to a man who spoiled her but not murder.
Right. And Larry just flat out says, we're here because she's greedy, and I totally agree.
Oh, yeah.
And they think Mooney. See, there I
there
go.
you go.
Oh my gosh, it's contagious. It's done like
There we
floated
go.
over here. The
Floated
Mooney,
over.
the Mooney. The money was the root of it. But you know, you can justify it with religion in your brain. You can convince yourself of really stupid stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Kay says that Lori isn't that stupid, just greedy.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's true.
Yeah. That's why I think the whole Mendel, whatever it is junk, you know?
Right. And like we said, too, Larry thinks there's charges to be had for other people. And I truly believe that. I just don't think there's any way Melanie Pulaski could have lived next door to them and not known anything. It doesn't make sense. I mean, you just can't tell me that she said, oh, yeah, I haven't seen my cousins since I moved up here. I've moved from Arizona to Idaho, and you're just telling me I've missed them every time?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. We know Melanie Gibb was served with that subpoena. We just don't know if she has immunity or anything like that. I mean, you've got Zulema, who we have heard has immunity.
Yep.
You've got Ian. I mean, there's that whole group there. And I think that's who Larry's referring to, is this close-knit group that follow him everywhere.
And we don't know who else is involved in that. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we know those that have been named.
Right.
But there could be others.
Well, it says in there known co-conspirators, known and unknown. To me, obviously the words say they know there are co-conspirators.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the next shock we get, is when other people have been arrested. I really think that Melanie Pulaski had to have been on the attempt on Brandon's life.
Yeah.
Because Brandon didn't tell anybody where he moved to.
Nope.
She found out through a watch the kid had that tracked his location.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, he was pretty sure it was Alex that shot at him. I think he saw the Jeep, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I just feel like we haven't seen, I mean, these are charges in Idaho. This has nothing to do with Arizona and what the crimes that happened there. So I'm just curious to see if now that these charges are out there in public, do we not in the near future get charges for Charles and attempted murder for Brandon and conspiracy to commit murder?
I say it has to be.
That would put anybody who knew about it besides the Three Musketeers in the boat where you're looking at possibly life in prison.
Well, we can look at what we know so far, and Alex has listened to somebody, and it's got to be Lori and Chad who he's listening to.
Right, yeah.
So somebody ordered that hit on Brandon.
Oh, yeah. And somebody had to tell him where he was, because Alex would not really have known on his own.
No.
So would Melanie, I don't think that it would make sense for Alex to say, hey, I want to go by and see Brandon. Oh, yeah, my kid's phone or my kid's watch says he's here.
Yeah.
I just don't see. I don't think the buck stops with them three. And I think maybe that's going to be the next phase is the Arizona charges coming. And maybe, more charges for Chad and Lori. Definitely. I think Chad was in on Charles. He's going to get conspiracy to commit murder for him too.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot to go. We have a long ways to go. There's a lot of questions that we're probably not going to get answered for a very long time. But at least now, I do feel better knowing the charges are in place.
Yeah.
It feels like things are right with the case, even though we know COVID, just the enormity of the case and the different, it's not just like one murder case where you got one defendant and one deceased person, you've got 3.
Yeah.
And so it's just big. It's crazy. There's a lot going on with Lori. So who knows what's going to happen. But I think tomorrow we're going to go through the grand jury witnesses. I've been looking into some of these people and finding out their role within this case. And so we're just going to see if anything else comes up tomorrow. And then we'll go through these witnesses and stuff. But, interesting stuff here.
Oh, yeah. It's only, we're going to see what else comes out of it.
It's going to be a lot.
Yep.
A ton of stuff. But anyways, that's kind of all we have for tonight. We just wanted to hop on and talk about these things and that first appearance or lack thereof for Lori. But at least we did get to see her.
Oh, I know.
I think June of last year was her last appearance.
Yeah.
Publicly.
Now they just need to take them masks away.
I know, right? She was the only one that had it on, and we know why.
Oh, yeah.
So she just didn't want to be seen. It's just maybe they didn't have lipstick or whatever.
She didn't have no Jolly Ranchers.
I know, dude. How is she getting those curls? She like wrapping her hair around the bars in her cell. I don't know.
I don't know either. Something.
I would think you would not have access to a curling iron in the pokey.
I wouldn't think so either.
That's a whipping.
If I did, I'd be cooking bacon on it, though.
They cook. I'm telling you, when we start back our glimpse at life, I got some prison recipes, and I think you and I need to try them out.
Yeah.
I think we need to get the ingredients from some of these recipes that our contact has given us and try them out.
I'm down.
All right, we're going to do it. All right, guys, that's all we have for tonight. Hope you have a good evening, and we will be back with you tomorrow.
Good night.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.